ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां व्यासशंकरमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So namaste and welcome to the second topic in this Sukta Sangraha, which we have started on this journey. So in this Sukta Sangraha, we will be covering the major Suktams. So most of you are already aware about some Suktams, but the meaning is not yet told to you. So in this series of Suktams, we will look at Medha Suktam today. It is a very small Suktam and also one of the most powerful Suktams to be chanted. In fact, it occupies the foremost even before the people chant Purusha Suktam. The Medha Suktam is chanted first, because the essence of the Medha Suktam is to make us remember and help us develop the intellect. Because without having the right intellect or without having the right memory, we would not be able to remember most of the things which is being taught. So the prayer is to Goddess Saraswati or to Medha, which itself indicates knowledge. So Medha Suktam is also mentioned in the Atharva Veda also. So it is also in the Rig Veda, it is also in the Atharva Veda. And Atharva Veda has got only few verses, and in the Rig Veda we have got many verses. So the purpose of this Suktam is to pray to the Bhagavan for helping us develop the right intellect. So it's not only just having the intellect, but developing the right intellect, so that our subsequent studies can be structured and can be understood properly. So the word Medha itself means retaining, assimilating, and understanding very clearly as to what is the essence of what is being talked about in the Vedas. And the word Suktam can be broken into Su-Uktam. So Uktam means say, or Uktam means said. And Su means very nicely said, or well said, or clearly said. So Uktam just means saying something. And the word Suktam means it articulates very clearly what it's supposed to say. That's why it's called Medha Suktam. And this Medha Suktam or any other Suktam just like we have also starts with the invocation mantra. So every Suktam has got its own invocation mantra. Like Purusha Suktam has got its own prayer mantra, Shanti mantra, Tachayo Ravani Mehe. And Sahana Vavatu mantra is there. So all of these suktams have got their own mantra. But this particular mantra is a bit unique. This mantra is not actually common in any other, only in Taittiriya Upanishad. In Sikshavalli you will see. And this mantra is called Veda Vismarana Mantra. Veda Vismarana Mantra. So, Smaranam means remembrance, and Vismaranam means the not to forget the mantra, not to forget. So, by chanting this opening mantra, you are asking from the Bhagavan that let me not forget the Veda. So, just like in the Kena Upanishad, we have the opening mantra called Maham Brahma Nirakuriyam, Mama Brahma Nirakarot. So, Maham Brahma Nirakuriyam, I say, it means let Brahman not negate me. And Mama Brahma Nirakarot means let me not negate Brahman. That means let the Bhagavan not forget me and let me not forget the Bhagavan. So both should happen. See, for one thing to be consistent, you must not forget the Bhagavan. And in the process of praying, you ask for the grace that please don't forget me. Right. So we start this mantra, which is also in the Taittiriya Upanishad, and it's a prayer for one who wants to develop intellectual capability to study the Vedas systematically and for longevity in the pursuit of knowledge. So it is not even though it looks very small, it's like an atom bomb. It's very powerful. It can give you a lot of information there. So we will start with the first mantra. Most of you already know this mantras chanting. So I'll chant the mantra first, then we'll go line by line. I'm going to do the invocation mantra first. And for those people who don't know chanting, I will repeat the mantra one line at a time, so you can practice. Om Yaschandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha Yaschandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyo Dhyamritaat Chandobhyo Dhyamritaat Sambhabhuva Samendro Medaya Sprunothu Samendro Medaya Sprunothu Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Madhumathama Karna Abhyam Bhuri Vishruvam Brahmana Koshosi Medaya Pihitaha Brahmana Koshosi Medaya Pihitaha Shrutam me Gopaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So that's the mantra, the invocation mantra. So we start always any prayer with the word Om. So there is not a single prayer or any invocation without Om. Why do we say Om? Because Om is the sound symbol of the Lord. Om is called the sound symbol of the Lord. It is called Pratika. So Om is called Pratika. And every other things other than the Om has Pratima. So Pratima means an image. So only the Om is sound. It doesn't have any object. It doesn't have anything. When you say Om, it already includes everything. So the word Om itself symbolizes the entire manifest and unmanifest. It also indicates the three states of experience. Also Akara, Ukara, Makara. So there is always waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state. And after every deep sleep state, there is again a waking state. So after every deep sleep state, there is a waking state. So this continues. And there is a continuous cycle of avastha which is there. And in all the three states of experience, you as a knower is already there. So you are there as a witness or the sakshi in all the three states of experience. Whether you are in waking state, you are the knower. In the dream state also, you are the knower. Because you know the dreams. In the deep sleep state also, you are the knower without knowing who you are. You are the knower, but still without knowing who you are the knower. How do you know? Because next day morning when you wake up, you are able to recollect and say that I had a very beautiful sleep or I had a disturbed sleep. But you yourself don't remember what disturbed you because you are fast asleep. Only you know that you are not able to sleep well or you slept well. So always in all these experiences that we have, the Atma, the consciousness is always there. So the Om itself symbolizes the three letters called A, U, Ma. So Om. And any of the letters any of the sound which is coming up has to start with A or U. So, and Ma. So any of the three things has to be there. And Om, Om, Om. So after every Om, there is a very small pause. And that pause indicates consciousness. Correct? And the pause indicates consciousness. And after again, so waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Same way, A, U, Ma stands for the three states of experience and the three symbols in which everything is included. All the words, so all the letters, so these are called letters, called Uyireluthukal. So you call, in Tamil we have Uyireluthukal and Meyyirethukal. So without the essence of this, we cannot form any word. So all of the letters which is there will have to originate from this A, U, Ma. So all the alphabets, you can say in English 26 alphabets or in, so we got all the Uyireluthukal, Meyyirethukal, all of them are there. They constitute the letters which are there, the vowels and the consonants. And the letters also are used to form the words. So a combination of letters is used to form words. And any word always indicates an object of knowledge. So if you say wanted a pen, so there is E there, and without the E, the vowel, the pen doesn't even exist. So the word E has to be there for the pen to exist. So the vowels are called the Uvirithikal, and that's what gives the power to the other body, May. May is called the physical body, and Uvir is called the Atma. So the Atma has to be there for the physical body to exist, or that is the one which lends existence to the physical body. Same way, the vowel is the one which holds the other things together, and then it gives you an existence of the word. The word always gives you an object of knowledge. So any object to take, if I see cow, can be tree, can be plant, person, man, woman, any object. They're all indicated by a word. And the word always will indicate an object of knowledge. And all the objects of knowledge which you see is in this world. So in this universe. So all the objects are in this world. So all of the worlds, all the objects which are here are called the manifested world, universe. It's the manifestation of the universe. So from this Om, letters first manifested. From the letters, the manifestation of the words came into existence. From the words, the object came into existence. The objects indicated the universe. So what is Om? Om is equal to the universe. So indirectly, when you are contemplating on Om, you are actually encompassing every object you are worshipping. So all of the objects which are there manifested includes the Om. Also, those things which are unmanifested, like in the deep sleep state, also includes the Om. So Om includes manifested knowledge and also unmanifested knowledge also. So complete. That's why we always start with Om. So Om, then Yes Chandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha. Yes Chandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha. So the first word is called Yaha. So Yaha means from that Om, or that Om. And Chandasam, Chandas means the Vedas. So from that Om, the Vedas came into existence. So yes, Chandas. Or the Vedic mantras came into existence. And how is this Rishabha? Rishabho. So Rishabham stands for magnanimity, like a bull. So bull is somebody who can stand out amongst every other person. Like if you've got a cow, a herd of cows, you can distinctly see the bull, correct? You cannot mistake the bull because it's of its unique appearance, its unique, majestic nature, its strong nature, it's tall, strong, and you can make out. So that's why we call Rishabho. That's why even Arjuna is called Rishabha in Bhagavad Gita. Because Bharatarshabha, you see the word Bharatarshabha in Bhagavad Gita. So he's the Rishabha of the Bharatakula. So Rishabham means the bull. So, or exalted you can call. So Rishabham means exalted, or the bull. Then how is this? Is Vishwarupaha. So Vishwarupaha means the forms. So Rupam means the forms, and Vishwam comprises the entire universe, Vishwam. So as I explained to you before, Om symbolizes what? The entire objects in the universe. So same thing is talked about here, is that yes, Chandasam Rishabho. So from that Om, this Vedas came into existence, and those Vedas reveal the nature of the universe. And how is this? Is Rishabho, of exalted or the most highest order of reality. Rishabho. And Vishwarupaha. That's why this particular mantra or this particular mantra is held high, exalted, because the nature is coming from the first, foremost. That's why we say Om Yaschandasam Rishabho, Om Yaschandasam Rishabho, Vishwarupaha, Vishwarupaha, Om Yaschandasam Rishabho, Vishwarupaha. Then Chandobhyod, Chandobhyodhyamritaat Sambhabhuva, Chandobhyodhyamritaat Sambhabhuva. So Chandobhyo. So Chandobhyo means from the Vedas. So yes, Chandasam of the Vedas and Chandobhyo from the Vedas. So from the Vedas, Adi Amritat. So the word Chandobhyo Dhyamritat, the word is Adi Amritat. So the Adi means here, it talks about the essence or the Saram. The Saram Adi Amritat. So the essence of the Vedas and Amritat means from the Amritam means that immortality or the limitless nature of reality. So Amritat. So this Vedas reveal the nature of the limitless nature of reality of the Vedas. The Vedas reveal that. So Chandobhyod Dhyamrita Sambhabhuva. So Sambhabhuva means it came into existence or emerged from that. So Sambhabhuva means it came into existence. So from the Vedas, this essence relating to the nature of reality or this omnipotent Brahman consciousness came into existence. So Om is the essence of everything, and from Om everything started. And everything ultimately goes back into Om only. That is why we do not have an elongated Om. See, there are some who teach Om with a very long Om. Some of them they chant Om, long Om. Sometimes people sleep with that Om because the Om should be only Trimatra Kala. That means how much time it takes to chant Om, Om, Om. So every A has to be one matra. U, one matra. Ma, one matra. So only three. You must not elongate. Because you never have a long waking state. You never have a long dream state. Neither you have a long deep sleep state. You only have a particular time. So the time has to be not very long. So if you go to meditation class, etc., they teach you this. Because they want you to focus on this sound. But here we are not focusing on the sound. Here we are focusing on the essence of what Om is. Okay. So Chandobhyo Dhyamrita Sambhabhuva. So Sambhabhuva means it originated from that. And what originated? this essence of the Vedas, so Chandobhyo, or the essence of the Vedas, or the Vedas came into existence from this Om. Then, Samendro Medaya Asprunothu. Samendro Medaya Asprunothu. Then, so Saha. So, Saha Me Indro. So, let that Indra. So, here the prayer is for Indra. So let the Indra give to me what they want to give you, Medaya. So let Indra give me the intelligence. Why is Indra asked for intelligence and why not somebody else? Because Indra is supposed to be the foremost of the Devatas. So Indra is also always worshipped the first. Like whatever Ahuti you give, whichever Ahuti you give to any Devata, all of the Navagraha Devatas ultimately report only Indra only. So, because Indra is the one person who in the Devaloka is the most exalted, because he is the one who knows what Bhagavan is very clearly. Or he is the one who is got a capacity for meditating and contemplating. Sometimes Indra also forgets, because Indra also is actually one of the jivas, of the lokas living there. So he is also subject to time. So, and being Indra, one can be subject to Ahankara also. So sometimes Indra, Bhagavan comes and corrects Indra, because Indra itself becomes corrupt and Ahankara, then what will happen to the entire Jagat? Because he is a person responsible for sun, for the rain, for the Vayu, for Agni. All of them has to function very well. So he has to be always be under control. So that's why always Bhagavan tests Indra first. And even Rakshasa also wants to attack Indra first, because by capturing Indra, all the Devatas automatically come under his, under the fold of this, whoever is capturing it. That's why Indra is also a very hot seat, always afraid. Indra is always afraid of somebody or the other. What happens? Somebody comes and takes my seat. I'll be powerless, because Indra cannot go anywhere else. Other people can report to some Rakshasa. Indra cannot go. That's why he says here, but anyway, here, Indra is supposed to be the bestower. So, Samendro, so Same, Indraha, Medaya Sprunotu. So, Medaya means intellect, and Sprunotu means bless. So, for me, let Indra bless me with Meda. So, the word Samendro is Saha Me Indraha Medaya Sprunotu. So let Indra bless me with intellect. Samendro Medaya Sprunotu. Om Yaschandasam Vrishabho Vishwarupaha. Chandobhyo Dhyamritaat Sambhabhuva. Samendro Medaya Sprunotu. Then Amritasya Deva Dharano Bhuyasam. Amritasya Dharano Bhuyasam. So Amritasya means of the immortality, or that immortality. Deva. So Deva means all the Deva, that particular effulgent Lord talks about here. Dharano Bhuyasam. So Bhuyasam means let me become. So let me become, or let me be bestowed with what is Dharano, Devaha Dharano. So Deva Dharano means let that Lord, let me become that Lord, or let me be bestowed with the power of the Lord, or the possessor. And what is you're asking for? Amritasya. So you are asking to Devatas for Amritasya, for becoming immortal. So when I say immortality here, it talks about bestowing jnanam. See the first, what is first asked? Samendro medaya sprunotu. So give me the intellect, give me the knowledge. So by having the right knowledge, one can attain immortality. So he doesn't ask for immortality first. He asks for Meda first, because only through intellect, only for knowledge, only one can attain immortality. You cannot attain immortality just like that. I want to become immortal. How do you become immortal? You must know what is a mortal, and you must know all the attributes of a mortal. In the wake of understanding what mortality, then you understand what immortality is. So for that you need to have jnana. So that's why first is asked what? Samendro medaya sprunotu. Therefore, after that, Amritasya deva dharano bhuyasam. So, by the virtue of having knowledge, by the virtue of having the intellect, may I become immortal, and let this devata or let the devatas give me that immortality. Is it clear? Yes? Pushpaji, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry.
Amritasya deva dharano bhuyasam. See, chanting is very important. In this particular text, the swara is very important. You cannot drag or you cannot drop any swara just like what you want. So you have to give that specific emphasis. See, yes, chandasam rishabho vishwarupaha chandobhyodhyamritaat sambhabhuva samendro medaya asprunotu amritasya deva dharano bhuyasam. Okay. Then shariram me vicharshanam. Shariram me vicharshanam. So shariram me means Sharira means the body, and me means mine is me. So, and when you say vicharshanam, it means let me be fit and healthy. So vicharshanam means let me be fit and healthy, strong. Because unless you are fit and healthy and strong, you will not be able to perform all these things. Let's imagine that we have difficulty in standing up, sitting up, focusing, or back problem, sitting problem, all the things are there. And you have always health issues. Something or other, you got headache, you got fever, you got so many things are there. Then you will not be able to focus. So shariram me vicharshanam. So the order is asked. First of all, you ask for intellect. Then through the intellect, then you ask for amritatva. Then after amritatvam, what do you need? You need the physical body also to be well maintained. So you cannot ask for amritatvam when the physical body is not good, because you have to realize the amritatvam immortality only with the physical body. There's no other way of understanding this, because the physical body is not tucham. It is one of the most important things. The body means it's complex, it is there. It is something not to be neglected. Even though we say it is mithya, it is not satyam, but it is still required for understanding what is consciousness. Because it is the only mechanism by which consciousness manifests. So if the physical body, mind is not there, consciousness is still there, but not available for recognition. So it's very important that we respect the body, we respect, and keep healthy. That's why Shariram me vicharshanam. Same thing you also see in, Bhadram karne vishrunuyama devaha. Bhadram pashyema shabhir yajatraha. Sthirairangai tushtvagam sastanubihi. So sthirair angai tushtvagam sastanubihi. So sthira angai. So sthira angaha means what? Let my limbs be steady. Let me not wobble. Correct? And tushtuvagum, let me be nourished, let me be healthy. So there also the same thing is asked. Because in every mantra and everything, you have to ask for this. Let me be healthy, let me be fit, let me be strong, etc. So, Shariram me vicharshanam. Then, Jihva me madhumathama. Jihva me madhumathama. So, Jihva means tongue. And how do you want Jihva me? Shariram me. See, all of them is me. See, Samendro. So, Indro me, Shariram me, and Jihva me. So, when you say me, it means me. So, what are you asking for? Jihva means tongue. And how do you want the tongue to be? Madhumattama. So, madhu means honey. So, madhu means sweet and mat means that and tama means which is sweetened. So, more sweetened. Like honey also you get different varieties. Manuka honey is more good. The New Zealanders know. So, the Manuka honey is very famous because people go for Manuka honey because it's got medicinal properties. So, some honey is superior to some other honey. So, different brands. So, Madhumathama. So, that honey which is itself sweet and it is more sweetened. So, your tongue, what we're asking for is, let my words. So, it does not mean that you should have a sweet tongue. So, when you say a sweet tongue means eating sweets. That is not what it says here. No, Madhumattama means, Bhagavan says you eat sweets. It's not like this. You'll end up with diabetic. What it says here is let my tongue or let my words which is coming out of my tongue, because without the tongue you can't speak. So Vak Devi is important. So the tongue has to be there to speak words. So Jihva me, let my words, the tongue always be speaking the tone of good nature talks, which is sweet language. So you must not, it means that you don't hurt anybody or you don't use the power of tongue. So in Tamil we say, Navila Suttavadu Aradu. Right? So when somebody says anything with your tongue, you can never forget. Somebody beats you with a scale or something, you'll forget because the wound also will go over a period of time, you'll forget it. But somebody says anything to you verbally and abuses verbally, that particular thing will stay for you for a very, very long time. You will never forget. Or the person also will never forget. That's why we always refrain from using language which is very abusive or which is very degrading in nature. And sometimes it comes to us because our anger rules. All the Shad Ripu comes into picture and that forces us to use the language. So here the prayer is actually for protecting that thing to not to come. Or let me not use the language and let my tongue always speak the good things. So Jihva me madhumathama. The next one, Karnaabhyam. Karnaabhyam bhuri vishruvam. Karnaabhyam bhuri vishruvam. So, Karnabhyam. So, Karnam means with my ears. Karnam. So, through the ears or with my ears, Shruvam, see, Vishruvam. See, Shruvam means the listening capacity. Shruvam. And Bhuri Vishruvam means may I listen more or may I listen good things. So, listening power is required. See, if you don't have listening power, you cannot understand what I'm talking, right? Because even though we are all seeing the camera, everything, but what actually communicates to you is the words. And the sound is what is traveling in your ears, correct? If the sound itself is not traveling through the ears, if you cannot hear, then you will not be able to understand what it is. So the communication has to be first through the ears. So someone has to speak and the speech has to be transmitted to the person through the ears. And through the ears you understand. The intellect has to be strong. So you're asking for a total package. You're asking for a total package where you give me all these things so that I can do this. So before itself you ask whatever you want to ask. So Karna abhyam bhuri vishruvam. So bhuri, the word bhuri means abundant or pleasant also. So bhuri vishruvam. So let me listen in abundance only pleasant things. Same Badram Karne Bishruniyama Devaha. So Badram means what there? Mangalam, auspicious. Correct? Mangalam, Kalyanam. So let me listen to only auspicious things through what? Karne Bihi. Through my ears. Shruniyama. So here also you see Shruvam. So the word Shru means listen. So Shruniyama Devaha, here also here, Karnabhyam Bhuri Vishruvam. So may I hear abundantly or good things only through my ears. Then Brahmanak Koshosi, Brahmanak Koshosi, Medaya Pihitaha, Brahmanak Koshosi, Medaya Pihitaha. So, Brahmana means belonging to the Brahman and how it is Koshaha. So, Kosha means sheath or we have, Pancha Kosha Viveka. So, we got 5 layers of personality. So, Anname Kosha, Praname Kosha, Manome Kosha, Vijnaname Kosha, Anandame Kosha. So, we have 5 layers of personality. You study in Tattva Bodha. So, when you for the students who are in the course, the long haul course, they will study Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, etc. In that you will cover all these things. You will know very detailed what is Panchakosha Viveka. So, Brahmana, Koshaha means the sheath. And how it is? Kosho Asi. Asi means you are. So, Tattvam Asi, when you say what? You are. So, Tat Tvam Asi. So, you are the Brahman. Same, Brahmana Koshosi. So, you are the sheath. So, the Brahman is the sheath. And Medaya Pihitaha. So, Medaya means what? The intellect or the worldly intellect is covered. So, Pihitaha means covered. So this Medaya talks about the worldly intelligence. So when you have intellect or intelligence, the knowledge about the objective world, right? The Vyavaharika or the transactional view of the world covers the presence of the Brahman. So Pihitaha means covers. So Pihita means covers. So what covers? The worldly Laukika Vishaya or the worldly objective world which is living there. It is covering the intellect like a sheath. So the sheath is called a kosha. So the Brahman is hiding behind the kosha, and these koshas are preventing me from understanding what real knowledge is. So for understanding you, I have to transgress or I have to cross this 5 layers of personality. You're getting it? That's why Brahmana Kosho Asi. So this, it appears to be hiding behind this kosha or this sheath. And how it is, what is it? Medaya Pihita. So the Medaya or the worldly intellect which is surrounding me or where I'm involved in this intellectual pursuit of everything else, it is somehow preventing me from understanding who is hiding behind this. Correct? So, Shrutam me ghopaya, Shrutam me ghopaya. So, Shrutam means what has been heard before. So, what has been heard before? Me means by me. Gopaya means, Gopa means protection, protect. So Gopaya means whatever has been heard by me before, please protect me or may become protected. So here you're asking for what? You're asking for protection for the knowledge gained, number one. And second thing is knowledge gained of the worldly pursuit is hiding my true search for Brahman. So you, whatever has been studied by me, may you protect, may you not take away from me those knowledge. So for that, what are you asking for? You're asking for first Medha. Samendro Medaya Sprunotu. Then you ask for Amritatvam, so immortality. Then you ask for Shariram Me Vicharshanam. You ask for good health. Then you ask for Jihva. Then you ask for Karnabhyam through the ears. So let me hear only auspicious things. Then Brahmana Koshosi Medaya Pihitaha. So then you're also asking for what? Help me cross over this personality, sheath of personality, which is hiding the real Brahman. Because it is not gone somewhere, it is available there. But due to our ignorance, due to our worldly involvement, we are not able to somehow recognize. That's why we always say Brahman is something we cannot search because it is already there. It is not an object to be attained. So, Adayapadum Purul Alla. So, it is not an object to be attained, nor to be got hold of. You have to take ownership of what is available already there. And how do you take ownership of that? You take ownership by removing all the ignorance. That's why you ask for this. Om Yaschandasam Vrishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyo Dhyamrita Sambhabhuva Samendro Medaya Sprunotu Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Madhumathama Karna Abhyam Bhuri Vishruvam Brahmana घोषोऽसि मे दया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So again, you're asking for Shanti, protection. So the 3 times you chant Shanti, because the first Shanti mantra, Shanti talks about protection from Adi Daivika. So Adi Daivika means the obstacles which are created by the acts of God. It can be calamity, it can be famine, it can be lightning, flood. All of these are all Daivika. It is something which cannot be controlled by us, and we don't even know what will occur. Suddenly there will be a bushfire from all of a sudden. You do not know where it is. You can't control it. Extreme heat, extreme cold, windy, thunder, lightning, all of them are Daivika because they are done by the act of God. So Adi Daivikam. So you protect me from those disturbances because we don't want to be disturbed. So finally what do you ask? After all these things you ask that let me be protected. From what? All these things already there you're asking. Then you're also asking for protection from Daivika obstacles. Then Adi Bhautikam. The second Shanti is for Adi Bhautikam. So Bhautikam means what? Those obstacles which are surrounding you. So there can be, they call pratibandhas, obstacles, because those things, it could be that there are some disturbances where you are operating, internet not working, microphone will not work, or there will be no light in the place. All these things are pratibandhas. And when you come to the class, your wife will come and say, why don't you come and do some dishes for me? Or you have disappeared there. Or why don't you hang some clothes out there? These are all pratibandhas. These are all called bhautikam. This is caused by people around you. So you know you are going out there. Somebody will just come. No, I can't do. No, you have to do this today. So what do? So you get stuck in there. So because you are not very sure, you tend no. I said no, I can't do it. I'll do it later. This is my time. I have to be here, and this is my Shraddha. But the moment you are a little bit diladala, supposing you are loose, what happens? See, I asked you the other day, you came. Why can't you do today? So it will become. So they are pratibandha. So they are created by other people or other environmental shunalagal. But then you are also part of that because you also get used to that disturbance. But if you are very firm, right, then you do not, nobody can disturb you. Whether people will do the job. If they want to do the job, they will get it done. If it has to wait, it will wait. If it cannot wait, then somebody else will do it. If we say, no, then you have to go and do it. So this is a smart way of doing things. Right? It's not procrastinating. It is trying to understand what is the priority. So this also is another type of obstacles. Correct. So this is called Adi Bhautikam. Then the third is, the last one is called Adhyatmikam. So Adhyatmika Tapa. They call Tapatrayam. So Tapam means they are all the defects, or they are the obstacles which are there. The third one is called Adhyatmikam. So Adhyatmikam means one's own obstacles. Bhagavan will be doing, a light will be there, internet will be there, computer will be there, nobody will come and disturb you, but you are not ready. See, inniki mood illa sir. Today I am not in the mood. Today you will find some excuse or the other, something, you will find out. Today, how will I escape from here? So you will find some reason. So I am not coming, not well, or all these things are adhyatmika, or not interested, difficult. All these are adhyatmika because it is not caused by anybody else. It is by your own, obstacle within you itself. So that also you are asking for. So you ask you ask for protection from obstacles within you, obstacles which are surrounding you, and obstacles which are not, which are governed by the Bhagavan, which is of the nature of Daivikam. So it's a complete prayer. So before even you start anything, reading, etc., you're already asking for what? Protection, protection, protection. So you protect, you protect, you protect. Because we have to be protected. Because we are people limited. So when you're studying or when you don't have Purna Jnanam, when you're Alpa Jnanam, etc., then the knowledge comes into picture. So you'll have to ask for protection. Later on, protection is not required because you know what protection is and you become protected. After that, you do not need to be asking for protection. See, if you already have security in your house, will you ask for security again? No, I would like to ask for security again. You already are protected. Then you don't need to ask for it. So you ask for protection till such time you need protection. After that, you stop asking because there's no point in asking forever. So one can be a beggar for some time. Once you from beggarship become beggar, you become a little nice person. You don't want to keep on begging. Some people have a habit of begging. See, they have a habit of begging all the time because it is, I can't just stop. This is my nature. So they'll keep asking. Give me this, give me that, give me that, give me this. So non-stop bickering, non-stop, asking for that. So you have to stop. That's what it says here, that the protection also will stop. So it's a complete prayer. And this prayer is called Veda Vismarana Mantra. That is, the mantra which is chanted, or this is chanted for not forgetting the Vedas or for being in, to continue the Vedas for a long time. So that is why this is very important mantra chanted. So most of you already know, and for people who do not know, you can listen to the recording. I'll do once more this chanting slowly, and you can listen to that and practice it. Okay. Om Yaschandasam Vrishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyo Dhyamritaat Sambhabhuva Samendro Medaya Asprunotu Amritasya Deva Dharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Madhumathama Karna Abhyam Bhuri Vishruvam Brahmana Koshosi Medhaya Pihitaha Shrutam Me Gopaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this is the prayer mantra. We concluded today. The next class, next week, we will actually go into the main mantra, which is the Meda Suktam. Okay. Any questions as anybody has got in today's class? Anyone? Any explanation required? Is it clear? I think I made it clear. I'm happy about what I did. So I don't know about what you felt, but it's good. So I'll see you all next week. And Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste. Shubhratri Donor. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.